Well, so my dear guys, we're going to be working today in our second class of the intermediate one of the first week. Ready? So it's going to be the intermediate one, W1.2, because of course it's the second class of the week number one. Ready? So guys, in this case, I am going to have a question for you. The question is pretty simple. What do you do for a living? Do you know the expression do for a living? What do you do for a living? What is the meaning of that expression? What do you do for a living?
Para vivir,
Sorry, Vivi, again?
para vivir.
Yeah, more or less. When I say
¿Cuál
what
es
do
tu
you...
lugar favorito para vivir? Algo así.
Not really, no. That
Para
is...
sobrevivir.
Exactly. O sea, ¿qué haces para ganarte la vida? O sea, what do you do for a living? Básicamente es what's your job, pero con la expresión do for a living, como hacerlo para ganarse la vida. Ready? So, what's your job? What is your profession? What do you do for a living? What do you do? What is your job? Paula, perdón.
I am a public accountant.
Ok, Pau is a public accountant. Very good. Public accounting es la carrera que es contaduría pública, pero la persona es public account. Mr. Public Accountant. Muy bien, excelente, very good. ¿Qué más? What's your job?
Psychology.
Very good. Lo mismo, psychology es la ciencia, psicología, pero la persona es psychologist.
Psychologist clinical.
Ok, clinical psychologist.
Yes.
Very good, clinical psychologist. Muy bien, excellent. That's it. Anybody else? Karen, Pau, Álvaro.
I work as an analysis process in a company.
Okay, as a what analyst, sorry?
Analizar procesos.
Process analyst.
Process analysis.
Process analyst. Okay, very good. All right. And Paul, what is your profession? I mean, this is your job. No, muy bien, very good. But what is your profession? Industrial engineer?
Business administration.
A business administrator or business manager. Ready? Careful that there is one difference between the science and the person. No, for example, if I would say architect, yes, it's a person that study what? What is the science? Aquí es architect.
Arquitecto.
Yes, o sea, it's a person that study architecture. Hey, how do you spell architecture? I forgot. Sorry. Architect. Sorry. You should. I forgot how do you spell it. Yes, architect. How do you spell that? Yeah. It was this. That's as I did it. No, está bien, perfect. So it's not with Q, but with CH. No, so here, architecture. Right? Entonces, this is the science. Yeah, it's like the science, the subject, and this is the person. Ready? For example, if you are a public accountant, it's because you study public accounting, ¿cierto? If you are a civil engineer, it's because you study civil engineering, right? Or for example, in my case, I am a philologist, because I study philology, right? So that's the science, that is the person. Lo mismo with Viviana, it's a psychologist, the person psychologist, because she studied psychology, right? So one thing is the science, ¿cierto? La ciencia, la carrera, and a different thing is the person. Right?
Engineer system.
Okay, so for example, Álvaro is a system engineer. Yes?
System engineer.
Systems
O
engineer.
software developer.
Bueno, very good. Oh, software developer is your job. Ese ya es tu trabajo, but profession,
Yeah.
it's system engineer. O sea, ¿qué estudió? Systems engineering. Yes, the science and the person, ¿no? La persona y la ciencia. ¿Listo? Right? Bueno, guys, very good. So, in that case, guys, the idea is that we have some vocabulary about our profession. Right? That's it. And according to our professions, we like or we dislike certain activities, no? For example, I am a philologist. Yes. It means I am a person who studied the language. I am an expert in a language. And I would say that learning about history is wonderful for me. I like it, no? So because I have to study the language in the historical part. So I have to study English in the old part, the old English, the English of the England, of Shakespeare, okay? So studying or learning about history for me is wonderful, no? Maybe another person says like, uy, no, profe, para mí learning about history is boring, yeah? But for example, for me, working with numbers, it's boring. Para mí, for me, no, working with numbers is boring. Pero Paula dice, pero bueno, of course, working with numbers is wonderful, is great, no? Entonces, in that case, I am describing actions, right? I am talking about the actions of my job, right? In this case, for example, I'm saying that es genial. ¿Qué es genial? ¿A qué me refiero cuando digo qué es genial? ¿Qué es lo que es genial?
Chévere, no sé,
Yes.
como
Sorry?
Learning about history.
Learning about history, o sea, aprender sobre
Aprender
historia.
sobre la historia.
In that case, the subject of the sentence is not a person, no es una persona. It's going to be an action, learning about history. Aquí digo que para mí es aburrido, pero ¿qué es aburrido? ¿Qué digo que es aburrido?
Trabajar con números.
Number.
Trabajar con números, o sea, una acción, right? Entonces, it's imperative, right? O simplemente I can say, ah, you know what? I don't like working with patients. Por eso no soy psicólogo, because I don't like working with patients, right? So in that case also, ¿qué es lo que no me gusta?
Working with passion.
Trabajar con
Working with
pacientes.
patients, o sea, trabajar con pacientes, ¿ready? Entonces, here we're going to find that, we're going to remember, vamos a recordar que ya lo vimos, but we're going to remember that it is possible to use the gerunds in order to describe actions, ready? In this case, focus in our job, enfocados en nuestro trabajo, ready? So for example, here we have different jobs, firefighter, dentist, doctor, singer, director, teacher, chef, architect, painter, police, da, da, da. And they are going to give different opinions about the jobs. ¿Ready? Vamos a tratar de leer, vamos a hacerlo un poquito más grande. Wait. Así está, very good. Álvaro, my friend, help me to read the first opinion about a firefighter. Read the opinion, please.
It is very difficult. Oh, no, yeah.
Yes.
Repeat. It is very difficult, but being a firefighter. Firefighter.
Firefighter. Good. ¿Cómo se pronuncia esta? Bing. No se
Bing.
pronuncia la E, simplemente Bing.
Bing, okay, yeah.
Right? Good. Excelente. Entonces, para él, ¿qué es lo que es difícil? Dice, uy, no, es que es muy difícil. ¿Qué es muy difícil?
Ser un bombero.
Ser un bombero, Pau. Muy bien, very good. Entonces, it's talking about an action, being a firefighter. Ready? Second example, Pau.
Working as a police is very fun.
Very good. Dice, uy, es súper divertido. ¿Qué es súper divertido?
Trabajar
Ser un
como
Working
policía.
as a police.
Trabajar
como policía.
Trabajar como policía, very good. Entonces, again, he is describing an action, ¿no? Muy bien, very good. Working as a police, good. Next, over here, Karen, my dear, help me with this one. Este larguito.
The most difficult thing about being a dentist is dealing with people's fear of use
Of us.
of us.
Ujú, muy bien. Entonces dice que la parte más difícil de qué?
De ser un dentista.
De ser un dentista es lidiar con el miedo de la gente, ¿no? So, again, describing two actions, right? Bueno, over here, it's talking about the doctor. Pau Porras, help me with the first opinion.
No te entendí.
Great, the first opinion, this one. Great.
It's very difficult being a firefighter.
La otra, la del otro lado. Esta, this one that's here.
The most.
Aquí al
Ah,
otro
es que no te, espérate un momentico, por favor, que no te veo ahí.
Here, here.
Being a doctor must be very rewarding.
Very good. Being a doctor must be very rewarding. Entonces, es muy gratificante. ¿Qué es muy gratificante?
Ser un doctor.
Ser un doctor. Muy bien, Pau. Excellent. So, being a doctor. Ready? Oh, the woman said, okay, yes, I love working in poor hospitals. Ah, me encanta. ¿Qué le encanta? Working in poor hospitals, right? Viviana, my dear, read the next example about directors. De los directores, about directors.
Working with movie stars is very demanding.
Demanding, very good. Esta palabra se pronuncia with. La H no suena, sería
With.
solamente with. Listo, muy bien. Working with movie stars is very demanding. O sea, es muy demandante. ¿Qué es muy demandante? Trabajar con estrellas de cine, right?
A ver, ok.
Exacto, trabajar con estrellas de cine. Very good. Ready? O simplemente el arquitecto dice, I know building houses sounds like a big responsibility. Construir casas suena como una responsabilidad muy grande. Ready? Entonces, in this case, the subject of the sentence, el sujeto de la oración, it's not the person, no es la persona. No estoy diciendo que los arquitectos son muy responsables, no. Estoy diciendo que es una gran responsabilidad construir casas. O sea, construir casas es una gran responsabilidad. En ese caso, la acción, construir casas, es la que es el sujeto. Ready? Entonces, in this case, we're working with gerunds, ¿no? Estamos trabajando with gerunds, right? Learning about no sé qué, working with patients, working with numbers, right? We're working with gerunds, that is a verb in ing. That verb can occupy two different positions, no? Sometimes can be the subject of the sentence. It can be the subject, the verb, and the complement. For example, when I say living in Colombia is really nice. ¿Cierto? What is the subject? Living in Colombia, that is the subject. Then we have the verb, which is the verb to be, and then we have the complement, which is really nice. Ready? But in other times, algunas veces, it's going to be the complement of the sentence. When I say, for example, Paula loves working with numbers. Working with numbers. En ese caso, tengo otro sujeto. It's Paula, right? And then I have a normal verb, which is love. Como está en tercera persona, pues loves, ¿cierto? And then I have the complement. So, working with numbers, que es todo el infinitivo, el gerundio, it's going to be the complement. Entonces, el gerundio algunas veces puede ser el sujeto de la oración o algunas veces puede ser el complemento de la oración, dependiendo. Es para hablar de acciones, ¿cierto? Algunas veces puedo usar el verbo me gusta, no me gusta, odio, no sé qué, en cuyo caso iría al final, ¿cierto? El gerundio. O algunas veces digo, es que esa acción o hacer eso es aburrido, es genial, suena bien, suena mal, right? Entonces, in that case, I can also use the verb to be and the gerund at the beginning. El gerundio al principio, ocupando la posición del sujeto. Ready? Questions hasta ahí, más o menos, ¿sí está claro? Más o menos claro. What do you think?
Good.
Yes, good. Alvarito, good?
Oh, good teacher, ya va.
Okay, good. Listo. Baby, ¿cómo vas? Good? No problems?
No problems, good.
No problems.
One
Very
moment,
good.
teacher, que me llegó un
Tranqui, tranqui,
domicilio.
no te preocupes,
Ay,
don't worry.
estoy aquí atendiendo aquí a
Relax.
en voz alta también. Gracias.
No, don't worry, relax. Bueno, entonces, for example, I would like you to tell me, yes, something, something that you don't like about your job. Don't like of your work, of your job. For example, in my case, I don't like working with kids. I prefer working with adults, right? I don't like working with kids. I prefer working with adults. What about you? Well, if you have different jobs, what is something that you don't like about that job?
I don't like to have a lot of meetings.
Puede ser I don't like to have, pero también puede ser I don't like having a lot of
Have.
meetings. ¿Right? Muy bien. Recuerda que like puedes usar los dos. I don't like to have o I don't like having. Ambas están bien. ¿Ready? Muy bien. Excelente. ¿Qué más? Karen, what don't you like about your job? ¿Qué no te gusta de tu trabajo? O de tu estudio, maybe.
I don't like work with children of, ¿cómo sería? En pañales, cuerdos en pañales, profe.
Babies.
Babies.
Bebés de
Ok.
pañales, ¿sí?
Sí, teacher.
Sí, with
Entonces,
babies. Puedo
ok,
usar
with
babies
babies.
o puedo usar simplemente toddlers. Toddlers son los niños que están aprendiendo a cocinar, a caminar, perdón. Toddlers. ¿Sí? Toddlers. Los niños que están aprendiendo a caminar, que pues generalmente todavía también tienen pañales, ¿vale? ¿Vale? Entonces,
Ok, teacher.
I don't like working with babies or working with toddlers. What is your profession, Karen? What is your job?
Teacher.
Ah, you're also a teacher. Okay, very good. Listo, muy bien. So she says also the same as me. I don't like working with kids, no? Paula, my dear Paula, dear Paula, Paula Mosquera. Anything that you don't like about your job?
I don't like the time that I spend because it's demandante,
Demanding.
demanding.
Okay, entonces you could say, for example, in that case, spending a lot of time, you know, spending a lot of time, working, of course, a lot of time, is demanding. Spending a lot of time is demanding. Yes. So in that case, she's saying that gastar todo ese tiempo trabajando, of course, es demandante, right? Pero cuando uso el verbo gustar, no gustar, odiar, todo eso, me enfoco más en esta opción, cuando el gerundio va al final. Pero si uso, voy a dar mi opinión para decir cómo es esa acción, lo más normal es que use el verb to be y la acción vaya al principio, o sea, el gerundio iría en el sujeto de la oración. ¿Ready? For example, I think that working from home, working from home, working from home is much better. Yes, esa es mi opinión. Working from home, que is much better, right? ¿Cuál acción es mejor? Pues working from home, that is the subject, right? Yeah. Or if I say, I love working from home, I love working from home. ¿Listo? Entonces, in that case, working from home, it's going to be part of the complement, ¿ya? En ese caso ya no hace parte del sujeto, sino del complemento. ¿Listo? Ready? Anything else? ¿Algo más que no les guste de su trabajo? Something that you don't like about your job?
Teacher, sí, en mi caso, what I don't like about my job is with eh, patients, creo que se dice pacientes, ¿cierto?
Patients, patients.
When they are, para decir maltratados,
Mistreated
mistreated,
means
mistreated, or abused children.
abused. Muy bien, excellent. Very good. Entonces, for example, she could say lo mismo. I don't like working with, para hacerlo más corto, ¿sí? I don't like working with mistreated and abused children. Yes? Okay, very good. She doesn't like working with those kids. Perfect, that's it. Now let's go on the opposite side. Something.
Yo puedo decir, ay, qué pena, teacher. Yo
Dime,
puedo
dime.
decir no, cuando quiero decir que no tengo en ese estilo de frase, no having vacation, ejemplo. ¿Sí estaría bien dicho?
Claro que sí, very good, of course. Entonces, ¿cómo la quieres usar? ¿Al principio o al final?
Al principio.
Al principio, puedo decir, no, qué mamera, not having vacations, no tener vacaciones, not having vacation. It's terrible, I suppose, right? So, not having vacation is terrible, yes? Entonces, el gerundio sigue estando al principio, pero aunque es negativo, not having vacations. Si es al final, igual, I don't like not having vacations, o I hate not having vacations.
Vale, teacher.
Very good, good question. Well, what about something that you love of your job? Something that you love of your job. Ready? My case, for example, I love, well, I enjoy working with adults. I prefer working with adults, no? So I enjoy working with adults. Or I can say that working with adults, adults, yes, is more exciting. No, let's say more relaxing. Because with the adults you can chat, you can make jokes. Yes, puedes hacer chistes, pues, like charlar, right? But with the kids, no. So that's why working with adults is more relaxing. Or I enjoy working with adults. Bueno, ¿qué les parece a usted? About your jobs, about public accountant, about your teacher, about todo. Something that you love of your job.
I love helping people.
Perfecto. I love helping people. Eso es lo que le gusta, of course. Muy bien. Great. I love helping people. Muy bien. What about the others?
Teacher, make, make. Ahí se me olvidó cosas.
Things.
Things, eso.
Pero recuerda que si va al principio, entonces sería making things.
No. Perdón. Make things. No. Make new things. I make new things. Creo que es así.
Depende. Puedes decir hacer cosas nuevas.
Sí, hacer cosas
Es
nuevas.
hacer cosas nuevas, ¿qué?
Hacer cosas nuevas en algún proyecto o cualquier
Good.
cosa.
Pero entonces ahí falta un pedazo, porque puedes decir hacer cosas nuevas es lo máximo. Una
Mm,
oración completa. O me encanta hacer cosas nuevas, ¿ves? Ese
ok.
hacer cosas nuevas es el gerundio. Lo puedes poner al
Ujú,
principio, igual que en español. Lo puedes poner al principio o lo puedes poner al final, como quieras, ¿cierto? Entonces puedo decir making new things, por eso te decía ing, porque es un gerundio que va solito, entonces ing.
ok.
Making new things is great. O making new
Ok.
things is the
Muy
maximum.
wonderful.
Is wonderful, por ejemplo, ¿sí o no? Making new things is wonderful. O I love making new things.
Ok.
Entonces el gerundio va a ir o al principio, como
O al
sujeto de
fin.
la oración, o al final como el complemento de la oración, dependiendo de la
Ok,
estructura que
ok.
tú quieras usar. ¿Listo? ¿Ready? Perfecto,
I'm
muy
ready,
bien,
teacher.
muy
Thank
bien.
you.
Excelente, excelente, excelente. Entonces, that's the thing. You can have the gerunds in two different parts. At the beginning, gerund as a subject, working as a teacher is very difficult. Usualmente con el verbo to be, para decir es esto, es así, es asá. Ready? Otros verbos could be, for example, seem, parece, o sound, suena como, right? So I can say that. Working as a teacher seems very difficult, se ve muy difícil, o working as a teacher sounds very difficult, ¿no? O sea, es como que suena muy difícil, ¿yes? Con el gerundio al inicio, ¿listo? O, on the other hand, having the gerund at the end, tener el gerundio al final como el complemento, en cuyo caso usaría verbos de gusto y disgusto. Like, enjoy, don't like, hate, can't stand, don't mind, ¿sí? Entonces, I don't mind working with kids. Ah, no me molesta working with kids. O I don't like, puede ser, ¿no? I don't like working with kids. I don't mind working at night. ¿Ya? O I don't like waking up early. ¿Yes? Entonces puede usar cualquiera de las dos dependiendo el verbo que yo quiera usar. ¿Listo? Guys, ¿cómo van ahí? Good? Everything good? ¿Todo bien? All fine?
Good teacher.
Fine. Excelente. Very good. Bueno, one thing that we can do with the gerunds, algo que podemos hacer con los gerunds, es comparar. ¿Ready? Por ejemplo, ¿qué creen que es más aburrido? ¿Working as a teacher o working as a, no sé, working as a teacher o working as a lawyer? Working as a lawyer. ¿Qué será más aburrido? Working as a teacher o working as a lawyer?
Working as a liar.
Working as a liar.
Working as a lawyer, maybe it's more boring, ¿no? Pero entonces más aburrido. But what do you think that it's better paid? ¿Qué creen que está mejor pago? Better paid. Working as a teacher or working as a lawyer?
Working as a liar.
As a lawyer.
No, obviamente working as a lawyer, right? Entonces puedo comparar las acciones también, porque en este caso recuerden que el verbo en gerundio lo que hace es que me vuelve no como verbo, sino simplemente como un sustantivo. Entonces lo puedo comparar con otro sustantivo, que en este caso sería otra acción en ing. ¿Listo? Por ejemplo, what do you think we have living in Bogotá? Los que viven en Bogotá. Living in, o bueno, más bien, living in a big city. Living in a big city. O living in a small town. ¿Qué creen que sea más stressful? Living in a big city o living in a small town? What is more stressful?
Living in a big city.
Obviamente, living in a big city es más estresante que living in a small town, right? ¿Qué estoy comparando? ¿Personas? No, estoy comparando las acciones, ¿cierto? ¿Cuál acción? ¿Vivir en una ciudad grande o vivir en un pueblo pequeño? ¿Ready? Hasta el momento no hablo de personas, pero también se pueden comparar. Hablo de acciones y también se pueden comparar de la misma manera que comparo las personas, ¿vale? ¿Questions hasta ahí? Ya vamos a ver cómo se comparan, pero hasta ahí está claro que podemos compararlas. Good? All fine?
Oh, fine.
Oh, fine, very good. Bueno, so in that case, guys, we're going to make an exercise. I want you to help me here, right? Bueno, let me erase this part. Here we have two people, right? What do you think that is the profession of the first man?
A doctor.
Doctor, ¿sí o no? So it's doctor. O a doctor, very good. ¿Listo? And the second one, what do you think is his profession?
It's a teacher.
Well, it could be a teacher, but let's say it's another thing, like an influencer or a TikToker or a YouTuber, no sé, something like that, no? It's like online, ahí está como online, ta, ta, ta. So it's an influencer. Entonces, we have two professions, a doctor and an influencer. Good. Take into account that A doctor and an influencer are two nouns, o sea, son dos sustantivos también. Pero a veces me refiero a la persona o a veces me refiero a la acción de esa persona. Entonces puedo decir a doctor o being a doctor. Es decir, yo puedo comparar un doctor es más alto, un más responsable que un influencer o ser un doctor. Una cosa es comparar la persona, otra cosa es comparar la acción que esa persona hace acá, lleva a cabo. ¿Listo? Igual, the same, being an influencer. ¿Ready? Entonces, algunas veces puedo comparar la persona, algunas veces puedo comparar la acción que esa persona hace. Right? ¿Qué necesito para comparar? Bueno, muy sencillo. I'm going to have first, let me erase this part. Vamos a trazar aquí la línea. Here. That's it. The first thing is to have two subjects. The subject number one and the subject number two. An influencer and a doctor. Or the career of influencer and the career as a doctor. Ready? After that, we're going to have the verb. Right? And after that, we're going to have the comparative expression part one. Ready? And then we are going to have, before the other subject, the comparative expression part two. Yes? Entonces, in this case, we have the comparative expression more or less or better or worse. Se hablo de más o menos o mejor o peor, comparativos, que funcionan con la parte 2, than. Eso ya lo sabemos, ¿yes? More than, less than, better than o worse than, sin problema, ¿ready? O puedo usar the other comparative, which is as, comparativo de igualdad, ¿ready? That it can work with also as. No funciona con than, sino que funciona con as, right? Entonces, guys, in that case, we're going to focus our attention here. Focus your attention here in this part. Bueno, no sé cómo se dibuja una sirena, pero más o menos. Right? So here, focus your attention. In this part, we're going to have the focus of the comparison. Ready? Here, for example, we have sometimes adjectives. Adjectives. Ready? For example, adjectives like which one? Like, for example, difficult, no? Like, for example, boring. Like, for example, interesting. Like, for example, rewarding. Rewarding means gratificante, ¿cierto? Or we can have other adjectives in past participle, like, for example, prepared. Or, for example, trained. Ready? O, for example, el que habíamos visto, paid, pagado, ¿cierto? O, for example, respected. Entonces puedo tener adjetivos de diferentes formas, pero al fin y al cabo todos son adjetivos, adjectives, right? Characteristics. Guys, when we work with adjectives, what is the verb that it's necessary to use the adjectives? ¿Qué verbo usamos? What verb do we use? A ver, come on.
Repeat, teacher, the question.
What verb do we use when we are working with adjectives? Remember that the adjectives, they have a specific verb. What is the verb for working with adjectives? Any ideas?
Is, ¿no? Verbo
Which
to
one?
be, is,
Verb to be. Very good, Pau. Muy bien. Verb to be. O sea, is, are, yeah. Or maybe with modal verbs, no? Could be, can be, should be, sí. Right? So in that case, all different forms of the verb to be because we are talking about characteristics. Ready? Entonces, for example, if I make the question, which of the two professions, being a doctor and being an influencer, is more difficult? What do you think? Which is more difficult?
being a doctor is more difficult
Than?
than being an influencer.
Exactly. So she's saying being a doctor, look, she follows the structure. Being a doctor is more difficult than being an influencer. Yes. Sencillo, right? In this case, we're talking about the careers, right? Which career is more interesting? Which career is more interesting?
Being a doctor is
Dale, ¿puedo continuar? Ajá.
than being an influencer.
Exactly. Being a doctor is more interesting than being an influencer. De pronto dices, no, profe, no, me parece que es más interesante ser influencer. Bueno, ok. Entonces, being an influencer is more interesting than being a doctor. O sea, estos dos sujetos van a poder cambiar de posición dependiendo cuál sea más que el otro, of course, right? Listo. What about if I say trained? What is the meaning of trained? ¿Qué significa trained?
¿Cómo entrenar? ¿Cómo prepararse?
Como está hablando de características, sería preparado o like prepared, yes, o entrenado, ¿cierto? Entonces, en este caso no hablo de la acción, sino de la persona. Who is better prepared? Better prepared, mejor preparado. Who is better prepared? ¿De doctor o de influencer?
The doctor.
Doctor.
Entonces,
El
of
doctor,
course.
entonces, como usted dice que se puede cambiar, entonces, being as influencer, less prepare than being a doctor.
Yes, pero en ese caso no es being, porque no es ser un buen influencer, sino el que está preparado o entrenado es el
Ajá.
influencer, es la persona. Entonces simplemente
Okay, an influencer, okay.
an influencer is less prepared than a doctor, ¿cierto? O puede ser
Yeah.
worse, está peor preparado, worse prepared o less prepared, yes, than a doctor. Muy bien, claro, si lo quiere hacer al revés, también está súper bien, ¿right? Unfortunately, desafortunadamente, which one is better paid? Which one is better paid? ¿The influencer o the doctor?
El influencer.
Entonces, how can I say, oiga, un influencer está mejor pagado o mejor pago que un doctor? How do you say that?
The influencer is better paid than the doctor.
Very good. Yes, in that case, when we are talking about these characteristics, usually we use it for people, no? Like, yeah, okay, an influencer is better paid than a doctor, right? Yes, very good. And
Antes uno salía del colegio y lo primero que uno tenía que hacer era hacer la carrera y luego ahorrar. Y ahora yo tengo una hija de 19 años y hace la graduó de bachillerato y me va a particular. Yo le dije que qué carrera, y me dijo, ¿cuál carrera, mami? No, yo primero voy a ser influencer, voy a ser youtuber y ya tenga dinero, ya hago la carrera. Ahora eso es al contrario, y yo, ay, Dios mío. Y sí, es la realidad, tristemente.
ajá, I know. Bueno, el problema es que y si después gana mucha plata, ya no hay carrera, porque pues ya para qué carrera si ya tiene mucha
Sí, sí,
plata.
mañana
Ay,
ya para
marica,
qué, pero
sí,
ella
exactamente.
sí, no, mami, ahora, por ahora lo que está dando plata es entonces pongo a hacer una carrera, pierdo 5 años y mientras en esos 5 años puedo ahorrar bastante dinero y luego ya elijo qué carrera voy a hacer como país para descartar y yo, ay, Dios mío, pero sí, así lamentablemente. Ay,
Ay, my
I,
God, generations are changing. Cada vez las
yeah.
generaciones están cambiando un montón, right? Bueno, very good, yeah. Entonces, guys, here it's the possibility to describe characteristics, adjectives about the career or about the person. Puede ser acerca de la carrera o acerca de la persona, right? Ahora, hay otro tipo de comparaciones que no tiene que ver con las características. Entonces, aparte de las características, yo puedo hacer otro tipo de comparaciones. For example, one second. In this case, I can talk about, like, for example, let's talk about the daughter of Viviana. Ella dice, no, es que ser un influencer tiene más beneficios que ser un ingeniero, ¿cierto? Entonces, in that case, it's not talking about the characteristic. En ese caso, no habla de las características, sino de lo que tiene o no tiene esa profesión. In that case, I am going to mention nouns, o sea, sustantivos, pero van en la misma posición, en la posición de foco de la comparación. What nouns? For example, responsibilities. responsibilities, right? Or for example, free time, tiempo libre, right? Or for example, an office. Or for example, I don't know, knowledge. What is the meaning of knowledge? ¿Recuerdan qué significa knowledge?
Conocimiento.
Conocimiento.
Conocimiento, muy bien, very good. Or for example, experience, right? Experience, right? Or for example, as I said, benefits. Benefits, right? Or for example, simply problems, right? Cosas que no se son, sino que se tienen, ready? Por lo tanto, what do you think is the verb?
Have.
Very good, of course, have, no? Which is the verb
Ah, sí.
tener, right?
Ajá.
So in that case, have or has, dependiendo si es singular o plural. Obviamente, si es a doctor, un doctor sería has, right? Si hablo de doctors in plural, pues sería have, right? Entonces, in that case, for example, I can ask you, bueno, which of the both people, doctor or influencer, has more knowledge? Which one has more knowledge?
A doctor.
Complete, Pau, complete.
A doctor have more knowledge than an influencer.
Okay, very good. So a doctor has more knowledge than an influencer. Perfecto. Pero, but which one has more free time?
Influencer, more free time than, no, sorry. An influencer has more free time than a doctor.
An influencer has more free time than a doctor. Very good. Excellent, right? Which one has more, well, let's say which one, because both have office. The doctor has a consultory and the influencer has like a studio. Which one has a better office or a better place for work? Which one has a better office?
Depends.
Depends. In your perception, Paul, what do you think in your perception?
I think the doctor has better office than the influencer
Very good.
or consultory.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But the office of the doctor is a consultory, no? So that's it. In that case, for example, I can modify this verb, puedo modificarlo and say, pues es que puede ser, no siempre es igual. Entonces puede ser, I could say, okay, a doctor could have, podría tener, right? A doctor could have better office than an influencer. Recuerden que este verbo siempre se puede modificar con modales o, por ejemplo, el verbo to be también se puede could be, should be, para darle ese toque, pues, que podría tener una mejor oficina. No siempre, sino que it's a possibility, ready? So, a doctor could have better office than an influencer, por ejemplo, ready? And we are going to have, in this case, when we have, ready? One difference. Cuando usábamos as con las características adjectives, decíamos an influencer is as responsible as a doctor. Tan responsable como un doctor, suponiendo, right? But in this case, when we have as, since these nouns are countable or not countable, we have to use as many or as much. Entonces, por ejemplo, I can say, which one has more problems? ¿Cuál tiene más problemas? Bueno, puede que tengan iguales, solo que uno de diferente categoría del otro. Pero como digo, tiene tantos problemas como ta. What do you think? Tantos problemas como.
The doctor has many and has as many problems as influencer.
Very good. Yeah, so, well, no sabemos, entonces podría ser, bueno, a doctor could have, podría tener, ¿no? As many problems as an influencer. Very good, perfect, right? So, as many, as, ta, ta, ta. How would you say, no, pues un doctor podría tener tanto tiempo libre como un influencer. How would you say that? Esa está complicada, ¿cómo no? Tanto tiempo libre como un influencer.
Could have.
All complete. A
The
doctor could have,
doctor could has as many problems as influencer.
as many problems, sí, pero si quieres, quiere decir tanto tiempo libre como,
The doctor could has as free time as influencer.
almost as much free time, porque time is not countable. Entonces, as much
yeah,
free time
as
as,
time as influencer.
exactly like that.
Pero as influencer has.
Puede ser as an influencer has o simplemente as an influencer. No es necesario complementarlo, pero si quieres, sí lo puedes complementar. Right? ¿Listo? Very good, perfect. Listo. Entonces, guys, questions about this part. Estos sustantivos son las cosas que se tienen, entonces es con el verb to have y ya está. ¿Listo? ¿Preguntas, questions about this part?
No, teacher.
No question.
Listo, very good. Entonces, very, very good. And also, I am going to have another different kinds of comparisons. Ready? I can have comparisons according to the actions that they do. Right? So in that case, what I am going to compare is specifically the verb. Ready? The verb can be any verb, puede ser cualquiera, and I can compare the word, the actions that they do. In that case, we close this part, no ponemos nada acá, it's going to be empty. And what I'm going to focus my attention is here, voy a enfocar mi atención en la acción. For example, ¿quién dormirá más? ¿Un influencer o un doctor?
Influencer.
Of course. In that case, el verbo es sleep, right? Or I can say, for example, work, or I can say, for example, travel, or I can say, for example, study, or I can say, for example, let's say, no sé, get stressed, right? Or I can say, for example, sleep, work, already study. What other can we have? Smile, no? Or talk, yes? O type, que es como digitar in a keyboard, ready? Entonces, I am going to have here different actions. El foco ya no está en características ni en cosas que se tienen, sino en la acción misma, right? For example, Álvaro says that an influencer sleeps, porque es an influencer, ¿cierto? Sleeps more than a doctor. Bueno, muy bien, very good. What do you think? Who types more? Who types more? Types in a keyboard. The influencer or the doctor?
A doctor types more than an influencer.
Okay,
No.
normalmente, yes, they type a lot. In the consultations, they type a lot, no? So, okay, muy bien, very good. Who travels more?
An influencer travels more than a doctor.
An influencer travels more than a doctor. Muy bien, very good. Ready? And what do you think? Who get more stressed?
A doctor get stressed more than an influencer.
Muy bien, very good. Guys, importante, cuando hablamos de acciones, y quiere decir que trabaja tanto como o que sonríe tanto como el verbo no es contable, simplemente voy a usar as much as. ¿Ready? Por ejemplo, si quiero decir, no, pues un influencer habla tanto como un doctor. ¿Cómo lo haría para decir un influencer habla tanto como un doctor?
An influencer speaks as much as me perdí.
No,
As,
perfecto, sí, más bien.
as influencer speaks as much as a doctor.
Exactly,
doctor.
exactly. O cuando es as, en realidad el orden no importa porque es igual. Entonces, an influencer speaks as much as, as a doctor, o a doctor speaks as much as an influencer. That's it, very good. ¿Listo? Entonces, únicamente cuando voy a decir tanto como, en este caso con los verbos, simplemente es as much as, right? Listo. And that is the final way of comparison. I make comparisons with characteristics, with adjectives. I make comparisons with nouns, with things, con cosas, right? And I make comparisons with actions, with verbs, ready? But also I make comparisons between the people, doctor and influencer, or between the actions, being a doctor and being an influencer. O sea, puedo comparar básicamente todo. Características, cosas, acciones, personas o las mismas acciones de ser esto o ser lo otro. ¿Listo, guys? ¿Qué tal? Questions, difficulties, problems, ¿cómo quedaron ahí? Good, fine, más o menos.
Good, teacher.
Good. Listo, muy bien, very good. Bueno, I'm going to erase, ¿puedo borrar? Can I erase? Sí, yes, yes. Thanks. Bueno, muy bien. Entonces, here we have some actions, ready? Rápidamente, we have being a lawyer and being a politician. Olvídense de ese dan ahí. Ese dan no ahí, don't worry. Being a lawyer and being a politician. What is better? What is more dangerous? What is more rewarding? No sé. What do you think? Being a lawyer or being a politician. Lo pueden cambiar de orden también, no worries, ¿no?
Being a politician as worrying as as much being a lawyer.
Ok, entonces, being a politician,
Politician.
politician. Boring es un adjetivo, o sea que ¿qué verbo debo llevar antes?
Is
Is, no, muy bien.
Ujú.
Entonces, being a politician is as boring as being a lawyer. Muy bien, good. ¿Qué otra? Let's see, con otro diferente. Working in Colombia, working in USA, directing movies, composing good songs, speaking English, speaking Japanese.
Working in Colombia offer various no queda muy largo. Working in Colombia.
Let's say, for example, opportunities. Oportunidades.
Opportunities. Ajá.
Entonces, pero quiere decir que ofrece más o menos oportunidades que trabajar.
Menos que en Estados Unidos.
Working opportunity offers, how do you say menos?
Minus.
Less. Porque minus
Ajá.
es del menos, pero el de la operación matemática. O sea, when I say, for example, 3 minus 1, that is minus. ¿Listo?
Less opportunities working in
USA. USA.
USA.
Exactamente. Entonces, working in Colombia offers less opportunities than working in USA. Listo, muy bien, very good. Ready? Any other? Speaking English, speaking Japanese? Other comparison?
Speaking English, I'm not sure in this, is easier than speaking Japanese.
Muy bien, very good. Speaking English is easier. Obviamente ya no coloca more porque el adjetivo es corto, ¿no? Entonces, is easier than speaking Japanese. Muy bien, perfect. That's it. Ready? Or if we want, we can change, do the opposite action here, and we have the comparison. We just have to put the subjects, no? For example, as I said before, being a teacher is not as well paid as being an engineer, for example, right? Or for example, I can say work in better places than, I would say influencers work in better places than psychologists, for example, no? Has as many responsibilities as, who can make this one? Has as many responsibilities as. Complete that comparison. What do you think?
¿Cómo se dice?
Teacher, pero ese tantas es igual a lo que nos habías dicho de Match,
Yes, en este caso
porque hay
como
tantas.
son
Ajá.
responsibilities es contable, por eso se usa as many responsibilities
Ah, ok.
as, right? Pero pues igual, pues, lo único que hay que colocar son dos profesiones, ¿no? Dos sujetos, el que ustedes quieran, whatever.
Maybe nurse has as many responsibilities as teacher.
Good, very good. Entonces, bueno, a nurse, que es has, tercera persona, muy bien. So, a nurse has as many responsibilities as a teacher, for example, ¿no? So, in that case, you can make comparisons of everything. Recuerden, pueden comparar todo, las carreras, las personas, las características, los lugares, los que, todo lo que, las acciones, ¿ready? Entonces, you can make comparison of everything, ¿vale? Bueno, guys, today the idea was that you could talk about your job, ready? A little bit about your job, describing first what you like or you don't like about them, ready? And also trying to make some comparisons about the actions that you have, right? But in this case, we work especially with two different jobs, but you can do exactly the same with your jobs, no? For example, being a public accountant is more entertaining for Paula than being an engineer, for example. Or for example, for Álvaro, being a software developer is much more entertaining than being no sé, a teacher, for example, right? Or for example, for Viviana, helping the patients is more rewarding than, no sé, than filling papers, que llenar papeleo. So helping the patients is more rewarding, más, how did you say that? Recompensante, no, I forgot. How did you say that? Rewarding in Spanish? Oh my God,
El crédito.
gratificante. Gratificante, right? So being helping the patients is more rewarding, es más gratificante que llenar papeles, ¿no? So in that case, you can use these structures also with your careers. It's exactly the same. You just have to modify the subject and the situation of every sentence, but it's basically the same. Ready? Guys, preguntas, questions about it, difficulties about the gerunds?
Teacher, en esa última, la última que estamos haciendo, is much more dificultad, en esa se debe hacer con lo que es ahorita, o sea, en este caso, por ejemplo, decir como driven, a motorcycle
Motorcycle?
is much more difficult than a car.
Exactly. En ese caso, por ejemplo, si yo digo, es mucho más difícil que, pues, lo más normal es que esté hablando de acciones. Entonces, driving bueno, claro que motorcycle se dice riding, que es como montar motocicleta. It's
Riding,
much
okay.
more difficult than driving a car. Ese sí es drive. Entonces, en ese caso, como estoy hablando de dificultad, pues las personas son difíciles, pero hablo más normalmente de ing como acción. Entonces, montar moto es mucho más difícil que conducir un carro, right? So riding a motorcycle is much
Okay.
more difficult than driving a car, right?
Right.
Yes. Obviamente, si yo digo, por ejemplo, tiene más responsabilidades, pues normalmente la persona es la que tiene responsabilidades. Entonces, en vez de decir riding is, no sé, a motorcyclist has as many responsibilities as a driver, ¿no? O sea, un motociclista tiene tantas responsabilidades como un conductor, hablando de la persona. Entonces hay que analizar pues la comparación para ver si es la persona o la acción la que voy a comparar, ¿vale? ¿Listo?
Listo, teacher.
Bueno, muy bien. Very good. Any other questions, difficulties, problems? Anything else?
No,
Fine, teacher.
teacher.
No? All good.
Fine, fine.
Bueno, guys, listo. Nos vemos entonces the next week. La próxima semana, lo más seguro es que la clase sea un poquito larga porque es una sola clase y es un poquito llena de contenido. Entonces es un poquito larga para que se vayan preparando y that's it. Listo, nos vemos la otra semanita, que descansen, que pasen buen fin de semana y that's it. No se les olvide programar la clase, ¿vale?
Bye, teacher.
Chao,
Thank you.
goodbye,
Bye,
see you
teacher.
later.
Teacher,
Listo,
any
dale.
question, teacher?
Se me Álvaro.
Teacher, una cosita, para las clases uno se tiene que inscribir o usted lo podría de pronto hacer un favor a uno de inscribir.
Pues digamos que no me les puedo comprometer con matricularlos, sino que pues cada persona tiene que matricularse. Pues
Porque
digamos,
voy a viajar, exactamente, voy a viajar a la costa. Mi abuela falleció el día de hoy, entonces no sé cómo esté